Queen Arwa of Yemen, born in 1048 CE, was one of the most influential and revered women in Islamic history, especially in Yemen, where her reign left an indelible mark on the country's political, cultural, and religious landscape. Arwa belonged to the esteemed Yemeni al-Salehi family, which played a significant role in the political affairs of the region during the medieval period. She was the daughter of Ahmad al-Salehi, a respected leader, and her mother, whose name is less documented, was also from a noble family. Arwa was well-educated and skilled in the art of governance, which was quite uncommon for women at the time. Her story became particularly prominent when she married the ruler of Yemen, Ali al-Salehi, who established the Salayid dynasty in the 11th century. After his death in 1067, Arwa ascended to the throne as the regent for her son, al-Mukarram, who was still young. However, as her son's reign matured, she continued to hold significant power, and her influence expanded throughout the region. She held the title of queen and maintained her position as the spiritual and political leader of Yemen for many years, becoming the most powerful female figure of her era in the Islamic world. Arwa was not only a skilled ruler, but also a deeply religious woman who supported the spread of Islam, particularly the Zaydi Shia branch, which she championed. Her reign brought a sense of stability and prosperity to Yemen. She earned the respect of her contemporaries and subjects for her ability to mediate conflicts and maintain order during a time when the region was often caught in political turbulence. Throughout her life, Arwa was instrumental in the promotion of education, and under her patronage, numerous schools, mosques, and institutions of higher learning were established. She encouraged scholars, poets, and religious figures to flourish in her court. Her reign also saw a flourishing of arts and literature, as well as the advancement of architectural projects, including the construction and restoration of many important buildings, especially in the capital of the Salayid dynasty, Sana'a. Arwa's leadership and intellect earned her the admiration of both her supporters and adversaries. She was known for her diplomatic skills, managing alliances with both the Fatimid Caliphate and the Abbasid Caliphate, securing Yemen's place in the broader political landscape of the time. She also earned the title of Lady of the Faith due to her deep involvement in religious and charitable affairs. Arwa's rule was not only characterized by political acumen, but also by her role as a spiritual guide for the people, and her legacy as a woman in power was unparalleled in the context of the medieval Islamic world. Queen Arwa's death in 1138 CE marked the end of an era. She was buried in the Jibla region of Yemen, a city that she had heavily patronized. To this day, her tomb remains a symbol of her strength and influence in the history of Yemen. Arwa's reign is still remembered with respect and admiration in Yemeni culture, and she is celebrated as one of the greatest female monarchs of the Islamic world, remembered for her leadership, intellect, and commitment to her people and faith. Even after her passing, the legacy of Queen Arwa continued to reverberate throughout Yemen and the broader Islamic world. Her reign set a precedent for the role of women in leadership, as she demonstrated that a woman could effectively govern, not only as a regent, but as a powerful monarch in her own right. The Salayid dynasty, though it weakened after her death, continued to hold political sway for a while, largely due to the foundation she had laid during her time in power. Arwa's influence also had a lasting impact on the role of women in religious affairs. She was deeply involved in promoting Islamic scholarship, particularly in Yemen's Zaydi Shia community, and was known to have supported scholars and religious leaders who were dedicated to spreading Islamic knowledge. Her patronage of education, particularly for women, was groundbreaking, and many women were inspired by her leadership and commitment to both intellectual and spiritual growth. Her reign, which lasted for decades, brought relative peace and economic stability to Yemen, which had previously been a region divided by tribal disputes and external pressures from neighboring empires. Under her governance, the economic conditions improved, and Yemen's role in trade networks expanded. Arwa's ability to maintain internal stability while engaging diplomatically with surrounding powers, such as the Fatimids in Egypt and the Abbasids in Baghdad, demonstrated her strategic foresight and the respect she commanded on the international stage. She was also a prolific builder, not only in terms of infrastructure, but also in advancing the religious and educational systems of Yemen. The mosques and schools built during her reign have stood the test of time, some continuing to function as centers of worship and learning. Her involvement in the construction of public works and the revitalization of religious institutions helped lay the groundwork for the cultural and architectural heritage of the region, much of which remains today. Though much of the historical record surrounding Queen Arwa's reign is shaped by the works of later historians, who often idealized her reign as one of peace and prosperity, there is no doubt that her contributions were transformative. Her ability to maintain power in a male-dominated world is a testament to her political and intellectual abilities, which were far ahead of her time. In fact, her rule is often viewed as one of the most successful periods in Yemen's medieval history, a rare moment where a woman's leadership shone brightly in the annals of Islamic governance. Queen Arwa's legacy remains a source of inspiration, particularly for women in leadership roles across the Arab world and beyond. She is remembered not only for her political savvy and educational contributions, but also for the compassion she showed towards her people, her role in spreading Islamic thought, and her unwavering commitment to the spiritual and cultural development of Yemen. Today, she is often cited as one of the most powerful and effective female rulers in the history of the Islamic world, and her name continues to evoke respect and admiration among Yemenis and scholars of history alike. The continued reverence for Queen Arwa in Yemen is evident in the way her reign is celebrated in local traditions, literature, and historical accounts. In particular, her role as a ruler who effectively combined political, social, and religious responsibilities has inspired a sense of pride and identity for Yemenis. The stories of her leadership and wisdom are often told and retold in various forms, from academic circles to folk tales. These accounts highlight her remarkable resilience and the ways in which she defied the expectations of women in her era. Despite the many accomplishments attributed to her reign, it is important to acknowledge the challenges Queen Arwa faced. As a female ruler in a deeply patriarchal society, she had to navigate both internal and external pressures. Her position as a woman in power was often contested by rivals who sought to diminish her authority. However, her deft handling of these challenges only reinforced her position, showing that her leadership was not solely based on the legitimacy granted by birth, but also on her ability to adapt to complex political realities. Arwa's reign coincided with a period in Islamic history marked by the fragmentation of the Abbasid Caliphate and the rise of regional powers. During this time, Yemen found itself at the crossroads of various religious and political factions. Queen Arwa's ability to maintain Yemen's autonomy and manage relations with these diverse powers demonstrated her diplomatic skill. She aligned herself with the Fatimids in Egypt, a Shia Ismaili dynasty, while also maintaining ties with other parts of the Muslim world, balancing Yemen's position as an independent entity without being subsumed by larger empires. As her son Al-Mukarram reached adulthood and began to assert his authority, Queen Arwa transitioned from being the official ruler to a guiding figure in his administration. Her influence remained strong, though, as she continued to make decisions in matters of state and religion. Even after stepping back from direct rule, Arwa retained significant sway in the political sphere, often acting as a mediator and an advisor in key decisions. Her ability to transition from being a ruling monarch to a respected matriarch within the court is another testament to her political acumen. In terms of her spiritual legacy, Queen Arwa was seen as a protector of the Zaydi Shia sect of Islam, which had a significant following in Yemen. She was regarded not just as a political leader, but also as a spiritual figure who upheld religious values in a time of sectarian tensions. Her role in fostering a religious environment where scholars, theologians, and intellectuals could thrive has left a lasting impact on the Islamic scholarly tradition in Yemen. The institution she helped to establish ensured that her influence endured long after her death, as they became centers of learning for future generations. After her death, Queen Arwa's legacy continued to inspire leaders and rulers in Yemen. Her name is often invoked in Yemeni literature, and her reign is studied as a period of strong and successful leadership. In the centuries that followed, Yemen would face numerous challenges, But Queen Arwa's reign remained a golden age in the collective memory of her people. It was during her time that Yemen was at its most prosperous, and her leadership was seen as a model for those who would follow in her footsteps. Her tomb in Jibla, still a place of veneration, serves as a physical reminder of her legacy. The monument, visited by pilgrims and history enthusiasts alike, stands as a symbol of her contribution to Yemen's history and the place of women in leadership roles. The Queen's burial in Jibla, a city she played a significant role in shaping, further solidified her connection to Yemen's spiritual and political heart. In the modern era, as the world looks back at figures of historical significance, Queen Arwa of Yemen stands as a prominent example of a woman who rose to power in a male-dominated world and excelled in multiple arenas of governance, religion, and culture. Her reign remains a source of study for those interested in the intersection of gender, politics, and Islamic history, offering valuable insights into the complexity of female leadership in the medieval Islamic world. Her life and achievements continue to resonate as a beacon of strength, intellect, and resilience, serving as an inspiration to future generations, particularly women striving for influence and equality in governance and beyond. Queen Arwa's influence extended far beyond the boundaries of her time, shaping the way future generations of Yemenis and broader Islamic societies viewed the role of women in leadership. Her reign is often referenced as an exceptional case of female sovereignty, challenging the gender norms of the medieval period and leaving a trail of inspiration for women who aspired to roles of influence and governance. Her reign was marked by a balanced approach to statecraft, blending both secular and religious duties seamlessly. In many ways, her legacy has contributed to the perception of women as powerful figures in Yemeni history, where she is viewed not only as a political leader, but as a symbol of wisdom, strength, and piety. The cultural, intellectual, and architectural advancements during her reign laid a foundation for Yemen's future that would echo through the centuries. As Yemen continues to navigate political turmoil and change, Queen Arwa's legacy stands as a reminder of the country's rich history of leadership, particularly female leadership, during a time when such roles were rare. Her story is often cited in discussions about the empowerment of women and the potential for women to lead effectively in even the most challenging circumstances. In recent times, as Yemen continues to face internal conflict, Queen Arwa's name is sometimes invoked by women and activists seeking to reclaim historical narratives that highlight female strength, wisdom, and resilience. Her reign continues to inspire efforts to improve the status of women in Yemeni society, as well as the broader Arab world. Her role as a bridge between different cultures and religious sects is still seen as a model for diplomacy today, as Yemen struggles to find unity and peace among its diverse populations. The diplomatic alliances she forged, particularly with the Fatimids and Abbasids, demonstrate the strategic thinking and negotiation skills she employed, which remain relevant for current political leaders seeking to build cross-cultural relations in times of uncertainty. The lasting respect for Queen Arwa is a testament to her effectiveness as a ruler, her deep understanding of her people's needs, and her ability to secure Yemen's place within the wider Islamic world. In history, she is remembered as a monarch who defied expectations and demonstrated that leadership is not limited by gender, but by one's ability to govern with wisdom, justice, and integrity. Her story endures as a powerful example of what is possible when determination, intellect, and vision come together, making Queen Arwa of Yemen one of the most celebrated figures in both Islamic history and the broader context of women's history and governance.